So, Mad Max Fury Road. Is it good? Is it bad? People have developed an idea that the movie is essentially one really, really long car chase, explosions one after another, and just is basically a cat and mouse game. In its simplest form, yeah, that's what it is. But can we fault the movie for it if it's good? And Mad Max Fury Road is does a great job, and its casting, directing, cinematography is beautiful, and there's barely anything negative about it. And especially when you have movies like Fast and Furious coming out every year with barely any substance, which is a car chase game, no one really complains about it. It's nice to have something that's more aesthetically pleasing and more passionate than what's been coming out over the past decade. And people have declared that this is one of the best action movies they've seen in a really, really long time, and it is. And Tom Hardy. We think Tom Hardy is Max. He is his own Max Rockastansky. He isn't the Mel Gibson Max, because it's a different world, different universe, different Max. You can't compare Tom Hardy to Mel Gibson anymore. You can compare Fury Road to Road Warrior.
The answer to whether or not you should watch Mad Max Fury Road is always yes. It doesn't matter what else you're doing that day, what else you have planned, or what else you can watch. The option is always watch Mad Max Fury Road. The dude directed Happy Feet and a bunch of movies where dudes run around in underwear and kill each other in cars. It's wonderful. Go watch it right now.
Hey guys, Chief Asch here, talking today about Mad Max Fury Road. Let's get into it. Me, I'm a pretty big fan of the original 3 movies, so when I heard that they were making a new Mad Max movie, I was like, oh shit, like, there's no way. Not even. But I got a glimmer of hope when I heard that it wasn't a remake, but a reboot of the series. It was essentially not necessarily a continuation, but a new look at it. So I was like, okay, there's potential. And then the information came out that Tom Hardy was cast as Max, and I was like, okay, Tom Hardy's got a pretty decent track record. I can get on board with this. So essentially, when it comes down to the movie, I mean, it's a good time. As an action movie, it's very well done. There's a lot of things to see, even though they're in a desert. And, the whole thing is one big car chase. A lot of people say, but the way the story kind of plays out, it plays into the cars, because one of the things we love the most about the originals is the Interceptor, and how that having those cars makes you that much stronger, that much harder a person. You always have that shelter. So the fact that one of the main parts of this was a big car chase didn't bother me at all. And a lot of people have gotten at this movie saying, oh, well, Max doesn't hardly say anything. This is more like a different story, and somebody just decided to throw Mad Max in it. Well, I mean, Max never really talks that much anyway. I mean, he did talk significantly less in this one, but this movie was more about a story that happened in the Mad Max universe, and he happened to be in it. The survivor, ends up in it. The stories cross, and I personally think that the story was executed well in that. Granted, out of the 4 Mad Max movies, it may have the least amount of intricate storytelling, but overall, it works for what it is. There's a few really awesome action scenes with rather excellent fight choreography, and they do really good at fixing a problem, the way I see it, that a lot of your heroes in action movies nowadays, they're essentially gods and no one can touch them. And in this, though Max is stronger than the average man in the movie, it doesn't really immortalize him. You feel the danger. You sense that there's a chance that he could possibly die, and things can go wrong for him, because there's multiple times where he gets kicked and he has trouble getting back up and stuff like that. And in this movie, well, compared to the others, in the others, they kind of hint at Max being crazy. They kind of push it a little bit, the loss of other people is getting to him and stuff like that. In this movie, they really hit on that really hard. And to me, that was just like a little nougat, a little nougat of satisfaction for those of us who like the other movies, because we get that. We see the people that he's switching between and his little, PTSD moments, the little characters that switch between, we recognize or have an idea of who they are, where in the movie it might not be brought up. But it still makes sense because, somebody that hasn't seen the movies, or they would see that and they'd be like, okay, well, these are people that maybe he couldn't have saved, or these are fictional people that are just haunting him. And then those of us who have seen it would be like, oh, okay, that's the gyro captain, and that's one of the kids from the little clan in Thunderdome. It's so the whole movie's like that. They have little tasty nougats for those of us who've seen the other ones, but for new people coming into it, they have all these, just the action-packedness of it. They still have a story, may not be centralized around Max, but a story nonetheless that has some ups and downs, and it's rather solid, and it brings in all these other factions of people in this post-apocalyptic world, which in my eyes, that's kind of how that would play out. People would factionize, and they'd be warring over places, much like how governments are now. So even though some people will give the movie flack for not having that much of a story, but it has the story that it needs, and the story has its own twists and turns, and it's solid in its own. Furiosa is a well-developed character, and a lot of people are looking at Furiosa like, oh well, she's kind of the position Max should have been in. The story revolves around her, not Max. It should have been a Mad Furiosa movie. And once again, it is in the Mad Max universe, and Max just happens to be in this story. It's kind of how I feel about it. But how would we know that that's in that universe without the presence of Max? So the fact that he isn't the main central character throughout the entirety of the movie doesn't bother me whatsoever, and it shouldn't bother you. And anyway, in a whole, it's an entertaining movie. It's a likable movie, and in my humble opinion, it's a good movie. So I'd watch it, rent it, buy it, whatever, and then maybe even pick up the game, play the game a little bit. Game's great. Delves more into the factions brought up by the movie. In the original 3, there really wasn't too many factions that were brought up. Pretty much everybody was like a war boy-esque type. And in Fury Road, you bring in the Buzzards and Roadkill, and then your generic war boys. So it's pretty cool in the game. They'll spread it out and stuff like that. So not only did it have everything a person would like from the original 3, just that him trying to survive, but him still being a complete and utter badass. But also you have all these new things that are expanded upon in this game that came out a little later, which I would recommend picking the game up for sure. But when it comes to the Mad Max movie, pretty good movie. I liked it. I would recommend it. It's a good watch. It's maybe not for the whole family, but it's definitely something you should check out. So keep watching.